Alright everybody, so today stopped on over at my favorite butcher's shop over in Silverton in New Jersey, Lenny's Colonial Market. Went ahead, picked up some really nice St. Louie ribs and a nice big old pork butt. Give us some ribs and shredded pork. So to start things off, what I like to do is I always like to get these nice and as tacky as possible. So you're just going to go ahead, get some paper towels, get all that excess juice and stickiness off of it. And we're pretty much going to be shooting to make this as tacky as possible, so whatever we rub it with is really going to nicely stick to it. And as you can see, I'm just laying it down on the paper towel to make things easy for myself. Try to stay as clean as possible. And then now that we have it all cleaned up, it's going to stick to the board. It's going to help keep it from sliding around a little bit. So we're just going to go ahead and knock off that extra fat that won't render from the time it's smoking. So nobody likes a mouthful of fat that's not rendered out, just like chewy bacon. It's enough to make you want to not eat bacon for another week, which is very rare. And then from there, you're just going to go ahead, rub it on down. A lot of people like to use mustard, but I actually like to use hot sauce in my ribs. And a really nice mild one, say 1 to 10. This hot sauce is about a 6 with a really nice flavor behind it. It's Queen Majesty's Scotch Bonnet and Peppers hot sauce. It's honestly my favorite. I use it for nearly everything. It's good on eggs, steak, any kind of pork, chicken. It's amazing on tacos. Pretty much figure it is good for anything. So we're just going to slather that all around, pretty much try and cover every orifice as possible. Really get it in there. The more you massage it and everything, it's just going to help adhere a little bit better. Then we're just going to switch gloves, grab our preferred seasoning, which is the Sasquatch Moss Rub, which you can get off of our website or sasquatchbarbecue.com. Absolutely amazing stuff. And we're just going to sprinkle that all on top. Excuse the shot being out of frame. Still learning how to use the camera and everything. So just going to take that, massage that in all nicely. Make sure you got everything covered. And when it comes to really good rubs like this, and when you're doing heavy smoke sessions, you're pretty much going to want to do a little bit extra seasoning than you're going to anticipate, because a lot of people don't realize as you're smoking, it's going to get doctored into the ribs. Sometimes if you're one of those people that like to flip things and have hands on all the time, or spritzing, sometimes your hand contact can pull it off, or your spritz can knock it off accidentally. That's why you kind of always want to over season, and it helps develop layers of flavor, especially if you put barbecue on top. Then you'll get that nice 1-2 punch. And always make sure you season the top and bottom of whatever you're doing. So there's nothing worse when you have a nice beautiful bite and then you flip it over in your mouth while you're chewing and there's nothing there flavor-wise. You want the second, third, fourth, fifth bite as good as the first, so just always make sure you season everything. And we're just going to get that nice little flap steak down there on the bottom of the St. Louie's heavy season, because that is my favorite part of St. Louie ribs. Looks like it's just about ready to go. We're just going to use the excess seasoning on the cutting board to get those sides seasoned up a little bit. Now that those ribs are done, we're going to set that aside, let it slowly come up to room temperature, which is slightly better for ribs, while we're seasoning up this pork butt. And we did do this about 2 weeks ago, so I unfortunately forget the exact weight, but I do believe it was just about 8¼ to 8½ pounds. It was a rather good sized one. Luckily enough, I worked at the butcher shop I was talking about for a few years, and so I always get to have, luckily enough, first dibs. I always get that nice heads up phone call whenever they get in anything special, and I fly right on over there. One thing you see a lot of people do is they leave those glands in the butt. And pretty much what a gland is imagine any kind of toxins, nasty bits you accumulate throughout your body. It's pretty much like a fuel filter in a way, but for your body and everything. And so people, they have them spread throughout their, body. You have them in your throat, your armpits. I do believe you have a few other ones. But when it comes to food, Now imagine you have a piece of human anatomy that collects nothing but the dirty stuff. All of your carcinogens, what I'm assuming may be cancerous items and all that stuff. And if you have the option to cut that out and leave it out of your roasting, smoking, cooking process in any way, shape, or form, why would you leave it? Especially knowing what I just told you. And so just always make sure you take the 2 seconds. It looks like a weird gray eyeball with a lack of better terms, and just use a knife, boning knife, cut that out, take that extra bit, give it the extra love, and it really, really shows people that you care. So here you can see me scoring the fat. I'm going about an 1/8 inch down and about 1/4 to 1/2 inch slice intervals and everything. What this is going to allow to do is, as the pork butt's heating up, it's going to allow the fat to separate into pretty much little 1 inch by 1 inch sections and everything. And then as it's cooking, it's going to allow the fat to render faster because it's not such a large piece, and it's going to allow it to get nice and crispy. And as I was saying before, I like to use hot sauces on my pork products whenever I rub them. And this is a really nice green chili tequila hot sauce, again made by Queen Majesty, my favorite hot sauce company. And then I'm going on the bottom side with a little bit more just to make sure everything's nice and moist. The butts I don't really go too crazy wiping them down with the paper towels, just because the anatomy of the pork butt is usually typically really nice and tacky, and so you can kind of skip that step if you want to. So now we have pork's best friend, which is the hardcore carnivore red rub, which, due to the pork butt's immense amount of intramuscular fat and marbling in the fat cap, the amount of sugar that's in this rub, smoked paprika, it's a really nice southern style barbecue kind of rub. It really allows this butt to come out really, really nice. It allows it to bark up properly. It's a nice sweet and savory kind of rub. And I like this because it's a little bit of the best of both worlds, and it allows really, really, really nice bark action because the amount of sugars it has. And as that mixes with the juices that seep out from the fat and all the connective tissue and everything, these butts shred absolutely amazing after developing a really nice hardcore bark. You can spritz it, you can leave it bare to get really extra smoke and enameled flavor in there. It's totally up to you. But we're just going to go ahead, cake this up, get it really nice and seasoned, and then we're going to go throw it down on the smoker. So because we filmed this about 2 weeks ago, unfortunately I lost the footage of us having the butt on the actual smoker, but here it is in the oven resting for the final hour. And here is the fruits of our labor, St.Louie ribwise. And one rule of thumb that I totally forgot about when I was filming this video is whenever you're cutting, put the bones that are sticking out away from you, start off with the bow with a blade in between those bones and run it backwards. As you can see, I was having a little bit of a hard time running the bones down just because opposite way, it's kind of hard to see where they start and run. But this butcher figured it out real nice and quick. And let me tell you, these ribs came out so damn good. So damn good. And even with the smoke setting only on 3, we got a really nice smoke ring, and it came out juicy, juicy, juicy. And what we've all been waiting for, the shredding time and the pulling of the pulled pork. And as you can see, it was still really nice, hot and steamy. Even poking through the foil as I peel it back, you can see that we developed a really, really nice bark that stayed intact even in the steaming foil, which sometimes undoes a bark. But this came out absolutely impeccable. As you can see, the string is right there, so we'll just go ahead and pull that off once we get that bone out. And the bone is the perfect test of how ready a butt is. And let's just go ahead and see how easy that just comes right on out. Quick turn, flick of the wrist, and there's that clean, clean bone. Just go ahead, get that string out of there, and then from there, shred city, baby. Just make sure you get that string out there. That's not really a desirable bite that anyone wants. You go ahead, you find those big, big pieces of the money matters and all that stuff and everything. You just go ahead, shred it on up to the point that you want it to be. Some people like it nice and chunky. Some people like it absolutely just shredded as all hell. At the end of the day, it's up to you. You're the one eating it. And so like I was saying in the other video about the recipes, they're only suggestions. So do whatever you like. If you want a nice chunky pulled pork sandwich with some pickle slices on top, you go ahead. If you're one of those savages that just shreds it as if someone already chewed it for you, you want to go ahead and put some ketchup on it, to each is his own. I just hope you guys are staying safe out there, you enjoying yourselves. Don't forget to enter to win, and always remember, stay wonderful. So make sure you subscribe, hit that bell to stay notified, drop us some likes if you obviously liked the video. And keep in mind that we're going to be trying to put out a new video every week to 2 weeks. We're working on a smoked brisket empanada video right now. And don't forget guys, go to WinderFullLife.com to be entered to win a brand new Traeger smoker, Pro Series 575. Second place Traeger Ranger, or third place a real nice Dalstrong chef knife. Go check it out please.